Men have their hormones, women have their hormones, but if a man doesn't act like a man and a woman acts like a man to try to compensate for that, then the female's hormonal patterns are going to match that of a testosterone dominant man. They are going to be bitchier. They're going to be more hard-headed. And this is no offense to you guys, but this is true. And the women who are coming to me are like, yeah, like I get angry. I'm very irritable around my period. I just want to rip somebody's head off and I don't want to forgive them. Like I just want to lash out at my kids. I just want to go ballistic. That's because you're not supposed to feel, you're not supposed to experience those symptoms. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Jacque Show. So today I'm going to be diving right into this topic. I tend to upset a lot of people when I speak on this topic because I'm a man talking about female hormones, but I get this question too often not to address it. And really, there's this huge difference between treating your hormones naturally and treating your hormones medically. Okay? We're going to do some series on this. We're going to dive into this, but really the key take-home point is this is that insurance will never pay for your hormones to be healthy. Ever, ever, ever. Okay? Medical doctors will never test your hormones appropriately as well because they're only going to test what they can medicate. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is go over a case study or two, just kind of talk about how I approach females, how I approach their hormones and their overall health, because really hormones are just in response to what's happening within the body. Right? Everything stems from a source of inflammation. It's my job as your doctor to be able to determine what are the stressful things that are occurring in your life that are causing your body and your hormones to respond adversely. Right? Where did this dis-ease or this lack of ease come from? So when you come into the office, this is just pretend your name's Susie here. So Susie, you're coming to the office here today. What are you coming in for? This particular patient, because I deal with a lot of fertility cases, wanted to start to regulate her hormones naturally. Okay, they had been pretty much everywhere else before as they were going through treatment, and they tried to do bioidentical work as well. And what we found out was this whole thing was stemming from an underlying stress. Okay, now it's not just a relationship stress. It's not just dietary stress. It's not just the lack of sleep at night. We're talking biotoxin stress. Okay, so biotoxins, toxins that are happening all around us all day, every day, be that heavy metals or in this patient's particular case, we had mold toxicity. Okay, now when she came to me, again, we were working on all these components and things, and we were doing hormones, and they were like, no, there's no mold, or our house is brand new, our house is brand new, our house is brand new. And I'm like, okay, I've heard it before, but I don't necessarily believe you right now. We were talking about a common thread, a common illness, and we were treating, stool test after stool test, and things just kept popping up. And I kept mentioning, hey, you keep having these recurring candida infections or these fungal infections are taking over. She had rashing that was going on her arms as well. It looked very intense and very horrible. And it was this instance where as we're doing these natural things, which I'll go into some of the stuff that I use, her cycle still was not there, right? We couldn't reactivate her cycle. And then she did the infamous go away from home and come back, or the vacation test, right? And so she went to Florida. Her arms and everything went fantastic. She was feeling great. Energy was great. And then she came back home, and then overnight, things started flaring up again. We had an issue with vitiligo that took place, and we found out that there was mold all on the inside of the home. Okay, and this home, again, it was only built, I think when we started working together, it was a brand new build. She had just moved into it. But what they did is a lot of these new builds, I'm looking because they're building them across the street, a lot of these new builds are haphazardly thrown together as quickly as humanly possible. And so there's a gap in the rock face in the side of the house, and what it was doing was capturing moisture in there, and they ripped it off, and I have pictures of it. It's horrible. There's all kinds of black that was all around the window frame, all around the siding, and it was creeping into the home. They fixed that. We worked on her cycle, and now her menstrual cycle has come back. And one of her goals was, again, wanted to get pregnant. She was fostering a lot of kids, adopting kids as well. And now she has the ability, because her cycle is back to normal and we have her ovulating, and, she's in this stage now where she can get pregnant. Right. And so you're like, well, what did you do? Well, the initial tests we work on are always going to be looking at three main organ systems. It's going to be the neuroendocrine. So we're looking at the adrenals and we're looking at the hormones. Then we're looking at the GI system. And then we'll do detoxification pathways through the Dutch test we typically use. And then for her, we had to use some auxiliary tests. So things like a mycotoxin panel we used on her. Levels were through the roof. We've used an ERMI panel to try to test the home. Again, levels through the roof. So we combine all of the puzzle pieces and we say, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And then we put together an action plan, right? So diet's always going to be included because most people in the standard American diet are going to eat very, very poorly. All right. If we eat like the standard American diet tells us to, we're going to look like the food pyramid. It's not a good look for us. High in carbs, low in fats, and medium in proteins. Okay. We need to adjust those ratios and give our body nourishing food. So we worked on the dietary piece of it. And again, she was very good. She was a phenomenal patient. She kept working and working and working and working. And we're like, Stan, you still can't get that cycle back. And we couldn't get the rash back. And so what was happening, okay? And again, your doctor's not going to figure this out. I did, right? She was putting cortisone creams on her arms to treat the rash, right? And what's that going to do? If you have consistent use of cortisone cream, it's going to shut down your progesterone production. So when we ran her Dutch test, her progesterone was almost postmenopausal, right? And so every single time she was treating the symptom of mold toxicity, she was suppressing her chance to become pregnant, right? So we eliminate the mold in the home, we eliminate the mold in her body, then her body's like, oh, great, I'm not inflamed anymore. I don't feel like I'm under attack, and so therefore my hormones can display as such. Okay, now I say it in a way that doesn't sound like it was a big deal and it was like very easy, but it took time. It took 1.5 years or so for us to be able to pinpoint the mold in the home and be able to get after it and clean it. And it was mostly because it was a brand new build. So they didn't believe that there was an issue. So this is the thing. You'll see videos all over my Instagram where like, it doesn't matter how old your home is, right? It matters how well your home was built. It matters how well you take care of it. It matters how well the plumbing is. Or if you've got kids, did they flood it? Right? My kids love to throw water all around the bathroom. Drives me crazy because I'm mold conscious. I'm like, please don't do that. Okay? So that's one particular instance. That's one particular case. But there's one in particular, and this is like actually a blanket style of casing that we do. Okay? Because what we'll see and what we have seen, I'm telling my other docs that I coach about this too, is we see these. And again, well, I'm going to get hate for it anyways, but we see women stepping into the masculine role nowadays. Okay. There was this movement where, the boss babe and all that stuff and the hustler and like get after it and be a boss babe, make sure that you can have a kid, you can have an entrepreneurial job, you can have 37 jobs, you could be a CEO, you could do this, you could do that. But what's happening is we're having women in this world who are having stress that men are supposed to be having, right? So like back in the day, back when like my bros and I, we talk about stress, we would talk about certain things, we talk about work, we talk about how it sucked and blah, 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 and how the things we were dealing with and the pressure that we felt. That's not designed. Women aren't designed for that. Women are designed to be loving. They're designed to be nurturing. They're designed to be beautiful creatures. How do I know that? Because they don't have a shitload of testosterone. Okay? They have estrogen. They have things that make them more passionate, that make them more understanding than a guy. Right? Think about a guy who's on steroids or a ton of testosterone. More testosterone you have, the more of a dick you become. Guys are more of a dick than women typically are. But what's happening is we're having this shift where men are becoming lazy because of toxic masculinity, because we're afraid to go after things. We're afraid to speak up speak our mind. And so the women in our lives are starting to fill the role of men. And what I'm seeing is the females' patterns, the hormonal patterns are starting to shift, right? Where it's weird. Men have no sex drive. Women have an increased sex drive. Where the heck did that come from, right? Or we test hormones. Their testosterone, their DHT is through the roof. Their 5-andros are super incredibly high. and their estrogens are tanked. And like, what is going on here? And every single time I see one of these instances, it's because the wife, the spouse, the girlfriend, whatever she is, has shifted into the masculine role. So actually, the innate intelligence within the body has adapted the body to be able to handle those stresses, but it feels uncomfortable because those hormones were not for that woman to have, especially at that high of levels. That's why there's normal ranges. Normal ranges for a man is going to vary from normal ranges from a female. Okay, whether you like it or not, that's how we are, and that's how we judge how our hormones are. Right? If you want to wipe out the entire list, then enjoy being estrogen dominant or having low testosterone or just being a slave to society. But at the end of the day, men have their hormones, women have their hormones. But if a man doesn't act like a man and a woman acts like a man to try to compensate for that, then the female's hormonal patterns are going to match that of a testosterone dominant man. They are going to be bitchier. They're going to be more hard-headed. And this is no offense to you guys, but this is true. And the women who are coming to me are like, yeah, like I get angry. I'm very irritable around my period. I just want to rip somebody's head off and I don't want to forgive them. Like I just want to lash out at my kids. I just want to go ballistic. That's because you're not supposed to feel, you're not supposed to experience those symptoms, right? So what we have to do from a functional standpoint, again, a reason why you're never going to get results with an endocrinologist ever, or just a PCP or anybody, is because they're not going to address these things. They're not going to address the fact that, hey, maybe your husband needs to step up as a man, but also you need to soften as a woman and allow him to take over the masculine role. But you need to be meant to feel safe. Like you need to feel safe enough to do that because you're carrying the load of the man and the woman right now. It's too much stress. It's burying you. It's not going to work well for you. Okay? So what we do is just say, okay, it's great that you're conquering the world, but you need some more downtime. You need to be able to rest. You need to be able to recharge. You need to be able to let your husband or your spouse or your boyfriend step into that masculine, make you feel safe, and then you could delegate your masculinity off to him so you can have that yin and yang balance instead of just living in the masculine, right? Because what's happening, we're having increased rate of infertility. Women are in more stressful jobs, okay? Women are more susceptible to stress than men are. Men handle stress much better than a woman does. Again, yell at me if you want to, but it's true, right? A guy can get hit in the face with a frying pan and move on from it the next day. And a woman would hate Susie for the rest of her life, right? Or if your best friend that's a dude does something stupid, you yell at him, you dish it out, you can hit each other in the face, whatever, and you move on from it. It's just how men are. We process it faster. Historically speaking, we process it faster. Now, I don't know the caliber of men that's out there right now. It's kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, we need to step into that masculine role. But for women with their hormones, right? If we're more androgen dominant, which not many people are talking about unless we're talking about PCOS, but when we have androgen dominance, you're not going to get pregnant. Okay? If you're androgen dominant, you're not going to be happy. If you're androgen dominant, you're not going to be able to lose weight. You're not going to be able to have a cycle, right? And you find yourself in these more stressful rules. So what's happening is you're causing more of this pregnenolone or cortisol steal to take place, and so it's going to tank your hormones. It's going to tank your progesterone. Okay? So again, from a functional standpoint, these are the questions that I ask my patients when we're going through these hormones. What's causing this? What's causing that? And then how do we build a new life for you that fits the mold of what you should be doing and how you want to show up in this world? Okay? Now, there's different scenarios. If you're a single mom, that you have to play both roles. And, hopefully when you find a new husband or a boyfriend or whatever they are to you, you can dish off some of the masculine role to them because, again, you're not meant to handle both roles. But for the time being, it's going to be sacrificing your hormones. It's going to sacrifice your health until you get to that next level of security, feeling safe, right? So safety and security is huge. That's just lifestyle stuff, okay? When you're fitting into the emotional side of things, you fall also into these pitfalls where you have the entrepreneurial diet. And the entrepreneurial diet is I forgot to eat. I was too busy to eat. I saw some guy trying to promote getting Uber Eats delivered to him because that's a good business expense because the time it takes to go to the grocery store and do all these things, first off, the dude is super lazy. Second off, you're going to be eating shitty fast food, basically. Your health is going to be sacrificed because you want to work too hard. Welcome to the American lifestyle. It's stupid. It's dumb. Okay? we need to be able to have these pauses in our life. We need to be able to have these pauses in our day to make sure that we enjoy what we're actually doing here. All right. So addressing lifestyle, addressing the diet, right? Because if, again, we have the entrepreneurial mindset, we're not eating enough. If we're not eating enough, a body is going to get scared. It's going to go into scarcity mode. And what's that going to show up for the woman? They're going to start gaining weight, right? Progesterone is going to drop. Their cycle is going to be gone. We're going to develop an estrogen dominant person here. Okay. If we have high level estrogens and high level androgens, you're going to be like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Nobody knows what version of you you're going to get. So everyone's going to tiptoe around you. You're going to perceive it as everybody hates you. But in fact, you just show up completely different on any given day of the week. Nobody knows who you are because you don't know who you are. So this is, again, more the deep diving stuff that we go into to build that lifestyle change. So giving your body healthy food, healthy protein, prioritizing protein, healthy fats, decent carbs, vegetables, things of that nature are going to help you to better process the stress in life and also be able to process how you show up with your hormones and how you show up with your menstrual cycle. The more inflammation we have, the more our adrenals are going to be taxed. Okay, inflammation, just think stress. The more stress we have, whether it's physical, socially, spiritually, trauma, whatever, that is going to have an impact on your adrenals. And it could be coming from the outside. It could be coming from the inside. It could be negative self-talk. It could be a gut infection. It could be spouse that you hate. It could be a parent that you haven't set up a boundary with. What are the stresses causing your adrenals to work in overdrive that's going to cause your body to be catabolic, break down, and not be able to recover? Because that's where we are. As a society, as a whole, both men and women are more catabolic than ever. We push ourselves too hard. We do not rest appropriately. We do not listen to our body. We listen to David Goggins yelling at you on Instagram, telling you you're a pussy if you don't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go for a 60-mile bike ride. Okay? I'm telling you right now, that dude is not. I almost went into that. I'm telling you right now, that's not real. That stupid thing that's going around right now with the girl on the flight. Anyways, that guy's not going to be healthy for very long. And I'm not putting a hex on Goggins on that. I don't care about his mindset. He's angry. He's pissed off all the time. Anger builds disease in the body. It's a low resonating frequency. All right? You can yell, scream all you want, but it's not going to help. But we work too much. We don't enjoy enough. We're not present enough. We're distracted constantly. Anything that causes us discomfort, we Amazon Prime something to make us more comfortable. That's the society that we live in. That's the world that we live in right now. It's not a healthy one, but that's where we are. So when it comes to the hormones, right, we haven't even talked about supplements yet, right? A medical doctor would be like, oh, cool. You have horrible hormones. Let's give you birth control. That's an easy fucking job. Like, there's times where I'm like, man, it'd be so easy to be a medical doctor. Like, it would be so easy. The third leading cause of death in the United States is medical errors, and nobody talks about it. So you can make up all the fucking excuses you want. You have super high level malpractice because you screw up all the time, and you just medicate the hell out of people. You show up with a symptom, here, take this. All right, like an example, I have a patient whose daughter, they were out in the woods camping, came back with some neck stiffness and stuff, and I was like, hey, I can't see you in person. They're across the state. So I'm like, go to like an urgent care or something, get checked out, just to rule anything out, and then throw me the information. First thing the doc says is, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to treat you as if you have bacterial meningitis. So they put her on a shitload of antibiotics, and they're like, I don't know if it is, but we'll see what happens. If it's not bacterial meningitis, then what the hell do those antibiotics just do? Wreck the patient's body. That is a medical error. Now, she's not going to die from it, but her gut's going to be pretty wrecked. I'm going to have to fix it afterwards. But again, the purpose of this is I want to make sure that there's nothing more life-threatening that's out there, and that's where the medical side of things should stay. When it comes to health, you're never going to get health. You're never going to leave a doctor's office with more health or healthier. It's impossible. You're going to leave with drugs or surgery. Okay? And again, going into all of this stuff, when was the last time you spent 2 minutes with a doctor, let alone have a doctor talk to you about your relationships, about your spouse, about what you're doing and how to change your lifestyle besides, eat less, exercise more, right? Which is what the commercials say. If you've tried diet and exercise and that hasn't worked, try blah, 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 right? So what do I do with my patients? long story short, is I do a deep dive into who you are to the level that you are comfortable. I think that's really important, where some people are not ready to dive deep. Okay, some people are. Some people can take a couple months. We get past the physical pain of a yeast infection or H. pylori, they don't have enough energy. And then once the physical ailments start to go away, they start to open up more because they can inwardly reflect and see how they really are feeling, peeling back the layers of an onion. And so each month that we meet, we're talking about updating the protocol and how you're feeling on the protocol, but I want to know who you are, what you've been through in the last month, and what I can do to help to change your perception filter of what your experiences in life have been up until this point. Is that stress your stress, or is that stress somebody else's stress that they are displacing onto you so that they don't have to deal with it? It's a huge question to ask. And what that's going to do is allow you to handle your shit, handle the stuff that does belong to you, process through it, process through grief of a dog that's passed 6 years ago, process through grief of a loss of a loved one that you've never had a chance to because you've been too distracted by, neuropathy, or you've been too distracted by, doctor shopping to try to find out what the heck is going on in your world, or you're always worried about Susie's stuff, but you never have a chance to worry about your own stuff. So we dive into that stuff. And again, each month we go deeper and deeper and deeper to try to figure out how we can really unlock these things. I've had patients too that they're on weight loss journeys, and we do protocols, we look at the hormones, and we do everything to book, to the T, follow along to a T. Everything's great. And then we talk about like this worthiness piece. And then as soon as they tap into the worthiness, right, and self-love, the weight just falls off. They don't change the diet. They don't change the sleep. They don't change the exercise. They just show up differently in this world with confidence. Weight falls off, right? Sometimes weight is just this protective armor to try to protect us from the outside. Okay. It's like I guess an armor would be the best term for it. Now, in terms of herbs, what do I use, right? So if I'm going after the adrenals, there's a Mayo Clinic study. I used a protocol from the Mayo Clinic study. It's pretty easy to dose. It's hard for people to analyze your adrenals, but I'll be using like DHEA, some drops of that, depending on if you have PCOS or if you have endometriosis or cancers, I won't. Or if you're pregnant, I won't do any of this stuff. But DHEA is a good start. Then you add in pregnenolone. Okay? Basically, I'm giving you guys my protocol. I don't care. So I'll do those things, right? Why? Because DHEA is going to allow us to be anabolic. It's going to cause the adrenal glands to start producing some more cortisol, and DHEA is going to allow for downstream hormonal formation. So it's going to go to testosterone, it's going to go to estrogen, it's going to go to those things to help to refill those buckets of hormones. Okay, pregnenolone is the mother hormone. It's going to give more hormones to progesterone. It's going to help us with the stress response. It's going to help to give us energy, help us feel better mentally, physically, socially, spiritually. Okay, what else do I do? Multivitamin. People are so on the fence of the multivitamin. I don't think a multivitamin has ever been so important because our food quality is garbage. So we have to supplement in with good quality stuff. And yes, there are some synthetic ones out there. You can use whole food supplements if you get your hands on some. Like what we use are healthy. They're not, lab grown horrible things with fillers and garbage and dyes and all that stuff in it. They're good quality stuff. Okay, you get some fish oils in there too that will help to reduce the inflammation. I really like these twice daily multi-packs that Designs for Health makes. Okay, there's another company that we might start using too, but either way, that's a great start. Then we'll typically use some vitamin C. Okay, vitamin C is going to be important. It's going to help with the adrenal glands function. It's going to help with the immune system. It's going to help with the antioxidant support. So if there's any damage caused by the adrenal glands, the vitamin C will help to overcome those for us. Lipoic acid, gymnema, berberine, one of these other guys is going to help with balancing blood sugar for us, because when the adrenals go awry, then our blood sugar tends to be thrown off. We can lead into insulin resistance. And then you could do some adaptogenic stuff where you may have some licorice root in there, maybe some phosphatidylserine. Licorice root will give you more energy. Phosphatidylserine will calm you down. And also with this too, because I'm saying it on here, I'm going to hold myself accountable to it. I'm going to make a product bundle, custom product bundle that I want to work on. Try to have it formulated by the end of the year. I don't know how long it'll take me to do it, but I think you'll really like it. I'm not going to say anything other than that until it's created. Somebody else steals it. So then if we have issues with progesterone, right? And we know it's adrenal focused, but hey, we're like, hey, let's get some of these symptoms resolved. Chaste tree or Vitex agonist is going to be a beautiful introduction into the world of progesterone production. It stimulates your body's natural production of progesterone. It helps with balancing of estrogens. It helps you feel better. It helps your cycle. It helps with cramping. It helps with like everything under the sun. When you're pregnant, it helps with causing some elasticity of the uterine lining. So it makes for an easier delivery and birth process for you, which I think every woman would ultimately want. A nice, easy, natural, just boop, there it is. There's my baby, right? So we do that. There's other things we can use too, where we can use some white peony to block certain pathways to try to redirect while we're working on the inflammation. Some resveratrol that we can use to block certain pathways. Sulforaphane is another one that helps with protection of the pathways. DIM is one that I don't ever suggest for somebody to go to the health food store and grab DIM. To me, DIM is also like almost like a medication. You shouldn't take it unless the doctor tells you to take it. All right. A lot of us feel, women, all right, a lot of women feel like DIM is going to be a cure-all, but DIM is wickedly powerful at destroying estrogens. You better make damn well sure that your estrone is low, right? Your doctor won't test it. They test estradiol or E2. Estrone is E1. You better make damn sure that estrone is high before you take DIM. Otherwise, you'll cause yourself to become osteopenic and osteoporotic. You'll have fractures. You'll have horrible hot flashes. You'll have horrible cramps. You'll have horrible everything that take place. Okay, you have to be very smart with DIM. Very smart. Okay, it's again why I hate these products that are out there. It's like, oh, just take DIM. Take some of this. You don't know what the hell you're talking about because you don't know how to map out the hormones properly and appropriately. Okay, so there's things that you can do from a natural standpoint. The supplements are fantastic. The protocols are absolutely fantastic. Can they work for absolutely everyone? Yes. Do they? No. Why? Why don't we think they would work for everybody? Because how willing is that person? How willing are you to change your sleep? How willing are you to get to bed by 10 and wake up at 6? How willing are you to stop working out so excessively and take some time off? How willing are you to stop trying to open up 78 businesses in the next month? Right? A lot of people, right? Every choice, every decision, every breath you've taken up to this point has brought you to the point of your state of disease. So if you come to me with your disease and you come to me with the same lifestyle and I give you a protocol and you feel better but never change your lifestyle, well, you're going to feel good for a while when you're done, but you're going to go right back to the disease that you came with. And you might be like, oh, the protocol didn't work. No, you didn't work. Okay? And it's no offense. There's so many stresses that are out there. People going through divorce or people going through other hardships or whatever it might be. And so there's times where you can have these ebb and flows, but if we have this constant state of stress that we cannot process, we cannot get through, we cannot overcome, or we're choosing not to process through it, then it is your choice to stay sick. Right? So again, like the reason why what I do works so well is because I'm willing to dig deep. I'm willing to spend the time. I'm willing to put the effort in to give you the answers that you need. It's up to you to put them into play. Just like I can give you the most miraculous protocol in the world that'll work for every single person that's out there. If a medical doctor gave you a medication and you still never changed any of the diet, lifestyle, stress, sleep, poor sleep habits that you had, you're still going to be in the same position that you were before. In fact, with the medication, you're going to be worse off because you're sacrificing other areas of the body because medications don't work with the body. They work against the body. They shut the body down. They force. It's like a gag order. They force certain parts of the body to stop so that they can treat certain things forcefully. With case studies and things, we can talk about pregnancy, we can talk about hormones, we can talk about adrenals, and it all sounds so sexy with all of these tests and things that we can do, but the best test of all is a conversation. I'm going to get more information from a conversation than I would get from any test. Okay? So I don't care how fancy the test is. Obviously, I use the best tests that are out there. They help me tremendously, and they give me a good look of where to start. But when I see somebody operating in this excessive masculine state, the hormones are going to be reflected, right? Hormones respond to the internal environment. So if I see you have a ton of inflammation or a ton of inflammatory markers or blood sugar imbalances, right? I'm not going to say, like, just stop eating carbs. You can say that and it could be beneficial for you, but I want to know why. Why are you eating carbs? Everybody knows carbs is bad. Everybody knows ice cream's horrible for you. Everybody knows that McDonald's is garbage food, but we still eat it. Why is it? Is it because you're stressed all the time and that's a comfort food for you, right? Why is it? What is the thought behind the thought? What is the process? What is the cause behind the effect of the hormones being imbalanced? Okay, and when people think hormones, they think just hormones. They don't think about the diet and lifestyle and how that can have an impact. They don't think about makeup that they put on their face with estrogen mimicking chemicals or compounds. They don't think about heating up their Tupperware plastic containers and leaching estrogen mimicking compounds again into your foods or Ziploc bags, right? You don't talk about those things. And the other thing that people don't talk about, which blows my mind, is when we talk about hormones, you should get your poop tested. And people are like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, number one, just from like a simplistic standpoint, you have 3 phases of estrogen detox. The third phase takes place in the gut. If your gut is inflamed, phase 3 sucks. You won't be able to get rid of it. So even if you had excess estrogen, you're like, dim. But then you have beta-glucuronidase through the roof on a stool test. You're just recirculating estrogen into the body. It's not doing anything. Great. You made more toxic waste to get accumulated into the bloodstream, right? Fix the gut, right? Infections are going to cause endotoxemia. It's going to cause your body to be toxic. It's going to cause your liver to be bogged down. Liver is where hormonal maturation takes place. It's where cholesterol is produced in the body. If the liver is wrong, hormones are going to be wrong. If you want to get to the root cause of any hormonal problem, adrenals, hormones, stool test are like the bare bones minimum of what you should look at. It's going to look at all those organ systems we talked about, the neuroendocrine, the GI system, the detox pathways. They're all going to be laid out there for you. You could do an organic acids or like a metabolomics NutriVal. You could do one of those panels too to assess how your body processes and how some of the processes within the bodies are actually working, like the citric acid cycle and things. But at the end of the day, a lot of that is going to be caused from, right? A lot of it's going to be caused from adrenal imbalance and GI dysfunction. You fix adrenal imbalance and GI dysfunction, the body goes back to normal. You don't have to fear cancer, right? You don't have to fear other GI infections. You don't have to fear the next disease that comes because our immune system is going to be nice and strong. So we're all about building back stronger. I hate that I said that. We're all about building your body to be as strong as humanly possible. Okay? Giving you confidence, not just now, but in the future. Giving you the knowledge and the education that if you grow up and you have yourself a daughter that goes through menstrual issues, that you don't pass the menstrual trauma onto your daughter that says, you know what, mom's always had heavy periods. They've always been irregular. PMS is horrible. I feel bad for your husband. I feel bad for your boyfriend. Life's going to be hell. Just wait till you get to menopause. Menopause is even worse. So you just paint this broad stroke that hormones are horrible for you. Good luck. Then what does that daughter feel like, right? They're going to feel like all they have is birth control and medications. Versus if you learn yourself, right? This is generational wealth. This is generational health. This is generational knowledge that you're able to pass down to your daughter, to your daughter's daughter, and so on and so forth. That all of this, we can change the lineage of health. And so if you have hormonal imbalances in the future, be like, oh, you know what? I went really stressful. I've been doing CrossFit excessively. I did 68 workouts before I was supposed to get my period, and it was 3 days late. It's because I tanked my progesterone due to the stress load that I put on myself, right? This is empowering you to understand your body, to understand your cycle and why things go wrong. And you're not going to get this anywhere else, right? And it's really frustrating to me. I wish, and that's why I coach other doctors, and I'm trying to bring as many on as possible to coach, because I need more people to do this line of work. I need more people who are willing to dig and take the time, not looking for the quick fixes, right? Everybody wants the quick fix. Doctors want to use the quick fix too, whether you're a medical doctor, functional doctor, chiropractor, naturopath, etc. You're looking for the quick fix. How can I make those numbers change the fastest? That's not what I'm worried about. Yeah, I want those numbers to change, but I want to make sure that when I take you off of those products, that those numbers remain the same. If I put you on a medication, I take you off it, those numbers are not going to be the same, especially if you never address the problem. So I try to go into case studies of patients, and I just got flooded with everybody I had in mind. But long story short, with this piece of it, if you're looking to fix your hormones, you're looking to correct your hormones, make sure that you find yourself a doctor, whether it's myself or somebody else who's willing to take the time with you to get to know you personally, how your relationship is, how you grew up, what is your parents, how did your parents raise you? Do you have worthiness issues? Like somebody who's willing to dig deep, right? And I'm not a therapist. I've helped a lot of people from a therapy standpoint, but if I don't know what I can do, or if I can't help you, then I can find somebody who can. Right? I tell every one of my patients, the more honest you are with me, the more I can help you. Right? And so you need to find somebody that you trust, somebody who's going to do the right test, somebody who's going to use natural approaches for you, somebody who's going to understand who you are as a person, somebody who's going to set you up for life. For life. Not on a protocol for life. So that you never have to fear the future. That's what this is all about. And again, you could pass all this knowledge down to your kids. You could pass all this knowledge down to your daughters and granddaughters, etc., saying, hey, watch out for your cycle. Don't exercise too hard. Make sure you eat these things. This is how your cycle flows. And it allows you to have a better, more impactful birds and the bees talk as well. It can also tell you to teach your kids how to not get pregnant. If they're going to be sexually active, it's better to teach them natural family planning. Don't have sex when you're ovulating. Don't be stupid. But so many young girls' hormones are so damaged, are so all over the place already before they even hit puberty, that they have no idea when they can get pregnant. Okay, and again, I'm not condoning teenagers having sex, not at all. But I'm telling you that you can allow your kids to not get stuck on just birth control, what's going to damage their hormones for the rest of their life and cause depression and cause weight gain. So think about that the next time you want to fix your hormones. What should you do? Make sure you find a doctor like myself that's going to dig deep, somebody who's going to run a stool test, someone who's going to run an adrenal panel, a hormone panel, and really be able to put everything together for you. Don't get too crazy with the sticker shock of things, because again, this is going to be something that is going to be an investment for you for now, but also for life. It's going to set you up for life. So you're worth it. I promise you, you're worth it. You're absolutely capable of having these results that I'm talking about with all of my patients. You just have to be willing to put in the work. If you are willing to put in the work, then I'm willing to talk with you. Jump on a call. I have a free 15-minute call link in my Instagram bio. Go find me. Let's just jump on a call. Let's just talk. Let's see if we're a good fit for each other. Let's see where we need to go from there. And if I can't help you, I'll tell you that. But I want to be able to help as many people as humanly possible, especially when it comes to hormones, because so many women are being so misled in this life that I want to make sure that I make it my mission to allow them to know that there is help out there. There are answers out there as well. Yes, I'm a man, but I know the science. I know the research. I know the cause. I know all of this stuff. Right? So if you want to judge me from being a guy helping women with their hormones, go for it. You're not a type of person I want to work with. But if you do, and you're open to hearing and changing and doing all the work that it's going to take, I'm here for you. Okay? Never settle for anything less than perfection, because you deserve it.